International Vice Chancellor, the very distinguished Professor Lilian Mwetian Salami. Please clap if you want to clap. I think she deserves all of the applause. Thank you very much. Other principal officers of our great university, the brand new Provost, College of Medical Sciences, deans and directors, professors emeriti, other esteemed professors and eminent scholars here present, top government functionaries, your royal highnesses, captains of industry, family and friends of the lecturer, greatest Unimed staff and students, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a most colorful assemblage of town and gown, and it's my privilege to welcome you to one of Africa's top-ranking universities, the University of Benin. Please put your hands together. Thank you. Before we commence proper, please listen to the following tips. Should there be a reason to vacate the hall in an emergency situation, security experts advise that there should not be any form of stampede, but that all should move to the open field on the left-hand side of the auditorium. Also, the conveniences attached to this auditorium are located and could be accessed from both sides of the building as you step outside. Again, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 268th in the inaugural lecture series of the great University of Benin. The lecture is to be delivered by one of our resourceful and quintessential scholars, a professor of petroleum engineering, Professor Olalekan, Adisa, Olafuyi. Topic of lecture is From Grains to Fines, Every Cent Counts. May I now invite the Registrar of the University, Mr. Adisa, to introduce the Vice Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor's procession. Mr. Registrar.
Madam Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my rare honor and privilege to present to us at this occasion the number one citizen of campus, the woman who has driven this university to a high pedestal that is admired worldwide. The current chair, Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Federal Universities. Of course, she's the Vice President of Association of African Universities, AAU. She's a fellow of many distinguished bodies. She's a foremost traditional title holder and a woman of pride in the academia, Professor Lilian Mwetian Salami. We have with us a woman who is also in the medical line, but really rendering very distinguished contribution to the development of the university in her capacity as Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Mrs. Etren Oman. Of course, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, who is a fellow of all big pharmaceutical bodies. You can name everyone. Professor Ray was authorized Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. Please, I want to apologize for my voice. It is not coming out that right. Madam, God did very well for us during the Christmas New Year. I'm just recovering from all the things that we did during the Christmas and New Year period. Please let's give the Vice Chancellor. We have very distinguished Professor B.A. Aide, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Inaugural campus. The controller of treasury and finances, who has always been traveling, but today we are lucky to travel, maybe because the petroleum engineers are in the house. Dr. Victor Imagbe is the bossa of this university. Of course, the custodian of our books and publication, Professor Luke Olafuyi, is the president. Yes, we have a brand new provost. We used to have a Professor Fossas who just vacated the office. But the immediate past dean, School of Medicine, in that College of Medical Sciences, eventually emerged as the provost after a lot of selection who said that was a job very fair and highly participatory by all members of our college. Professor Winston Salom is the Provost College of Medical Sciences. Very soon they will tell us when it's to wash the new position, which is eminently deserved. Congratulations. Dr. S.C. Aliu is the Assistant Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, and standing in for Professor Keme, who is the Dean. The post-dean of today is, of course, seated here, Professor Dio Osare-Windan, who is Professor S.C. Yuka, who is one of the foreigners in our midst, adding to foreign content in this university, is also a brand new, not so brand, but this he has attended one inaugural lecture before. Professor S.C. Yuka is the Dean Faculty of Arts. Professor F.O. Agoreye is the Dean School of Basic Medical Sciences. Professor F.O. Agoreye, Dean School of Dentistry, is also here. The controller and the one who can order our Vice Chancellor to come quickly for something is the Dean of our Vice Chancellor. And that's a very powerful one. Professor K.O. Amarokiwa, Dean of Onewo is the Acting Director Center of Maritime and ICT. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a rare honor for me at this point to invite to the front of this distinguished audience, Mabel Vice Chancellor, to present an address. The Vice Chancellor.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know that my dean can call me so quickly. I'm going to issue him a query tomorrow for accepting that he can call me and I will answer him. But my dean, I respect you. You are still the dean of my faculty. So thank you very much. I have never seen so many engineers in my life. And you can see all of them coming in. Even my predecessor is also here, Professor Olalekan. And that's when engineers come, they all come. I must acknowledge the presence of, they never miss inaugural lectures, these emeritus professors. And I think we need to, management, we need to give these emeritus professors some kind of gift or present. They are always present. And that is Professor Olalekan. I don't know why the second half isn't here. And then my own T.O.K. Audu and the wife professor. You are most welcome. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I see some elders this way too. You are most welcome to this inaugural lecture. And I say Happy New Year. Can somebody say amen? Please stand to pay offerings. Make sure if you said amen, you must give something. So it is my pleasure here to welcome you to the 268th in the inaugural lecture series of this great University of Benin. Today's lecture is the 40th to be delivered in my tenure as the Vice Chancellor of the great university. 17th in the Faculty of Engineering and the very first in the Department of Petroleum Engineering. I am glad to inform you that the first mandatory National Youth Service Corps at Olafuyi and Company in Lagos State. He had his master's in 2000, PhD degree in Petroleum Engineering from the University of New South Wales, and rose through the ranks to the position of a full-fledged professor in 2015. He had held several administrative positions, such as course advisor, faculty pre-unit coordinator, faculty assistant examination officer, acting head of department, and postgraduate coordinator. Professor Olafuyi is an oil and gas consultant to several companies at both national and international levels, and an academic mentor to several engineering students. He has over 70 articles in local, national, and international journals, and has authored chapters in books. He has attended several conferences, workshops, and professional courses within and outside Nigeria. He has supervised over 40 masters and 9 PhD theses. Professor Olafuyi is a recipient of several awards, notably among them are the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PhD Scholarship, and Petroleum Technology Development Fund, Hassan Scholar. Professor Olafuyi belongs to several professional bodies and associations, such as the Society of Petroleum Engineers, Australia Core Analyst, Current Registered Petroleum Engineer. Professor Olafuyi has a passion for reading, football, and traveling. He is a Christian and happily married to barrister Mrs. Olalekan Olafuyi, and they are blessed with 4 children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce and invite Professor Olalekan Adisa Olafuyi, a professor of petroleum engineering, to deliver his inaugural lecture.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That's a VC with charisma, and the VC of all VCs, I shall be the chairman. Thank you very much. I'm very delighted to give this inaugural lecture. Actually, you want me to give this inaugural lecture. Thank you. From the time of humans realized naturally occurring petroleum, from the time humans realized naturally occurring petroleum had derived uses, they organized means and methods to try and collect it and utilize it to its fullest potential. The history of petroleum exploration around the world is colorful and fascinating. Each country and even regions within countries has its own distinct part of discovery that influences it to this day. The Vice Chancellor, ma'am. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the Bursar, the Librarian of the University, members of the University Governing Council, members of the University Senate, members of the University Congregation, Provost of the College of Medical Sciences, Dean of School of Petroleum Postgraduate Studies, Dean of Faculty of Technology and University, my Lord, spiritual and temporal, greatest student of the university, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Preamble. The use of internal combustion engine for automobiles and trucks at the turn of 20th century was a critical factor in the explosive growth of the oil industry in the United States, Europe, Middle East, and later the rest of the world, including Nigeria, which after about 5 decades of oil exploration and having the largest natural gas reserve, is considered a major oil producing country in Africa and also one of the members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. OPEC. However, in as much as the oil and gas industry being multi-billion-dollar and the world driving over a third of its energy production from oil, due to present production technologies in Nigeria, huge amount of oil are left behind in the ground, regarded as being unrecoverable. So, Vice Chancellor One, how can this unrecoverable crude oil be recovered, especially with regards to the fact that the Nigerian crude oil thefts follow the institutional order of our oil being recovered from crude oil thieves? How can we also particularly Inaugural lectures in its regular context, but within and beyond the shores of specialty knowledge of petroleum engineering, within and beyond the equations and graphical divides, within and in the early 1970s. It was taught as an applied science, but some major aspects of it could not be successfully taught for quite a while due to lack of information technology. Adisa and Olafuyi 2004. How be it, petroleum technology candidly has its history, philosophy, and peculiar key concepts, especially in line with science and technology. Benin and Olafuyi 2004, Olafuyi and 2010, making petroleum technology now cosmopolitan. Oil production. Substantive reserves are still left in the ground unrecovered, which are either bypassed by the injected water, or the oil is too viscous to be displaced by the injected fluid, which can be water or polymer, after the conventional primary and secondary productions. Later, I'm going to explain what the primary and secondary production means to us. Unfortunately, while the countries presently hold the prestigious outcome of poverty, capital of the world, the depleting oil reserves are being studied by the day. Ironically, while Russian invasion of Ukraine is making other oil-producing countries to have increase in financial reserves. Our financial reserve is being exhausted, if not already depleted. If indeed the injection or prediction of petroleum offensive that is about 35 years, the existing oil reserve will be exhausted. In absence of further discovery or enhanced oil recovery, the grains and fines, as well as surface gas gravity and sand production reservoir must be therefore be in consideration to improve oil recovery for every cent to count. Olalekan and Olafuyi 2010, Inaugural and Olafuyi 2011, Taiwan and Olafuyi 2016. My contribution to knowledge in petroleum engineering and related areas are diverse, collaborative, challenging, engaging, capital intensive, and most especially solution provided for difficult situations and gap filling in the missing links of the oil and gas industry. My publication and other research interests cover reservoir engineering and multi-phase flow in cross media, flow assurance, reservoir circulation study, enhanced oil recovery and wettability studies, heavy oil, bitumen, coal reservoir, environmental studies, pollution studies, and control and waste management. All the various experimental studies that I have been involved in, all through my years in academia, professional collaborations, industrial participation, knowledge sharing and dissemination, and so on, always consider how the Nigerian oil and gas industry can perform maximally, but at reasonably competitively and technically minimal cost, so that from grains to fines, every cent can count, at least petroleumically or energetically. And if you like, we can say universally, Nigerically, Africally. After all, every form of existence from grains and fines. Making you to understand what we do in petroleum engineering, because it's a unique course that brings a product from the underground to the surface. The difference between drilling a borehole in your house and drilling a borehole drilling a well in petroleum engineering is when you drill a borehole in your homes, you put a submersible pump to bring the fluid to the surface. But in petroleum engineering, the fluid we are drilling is trapped at temperature, high temperature. How do you bring in this? Considering safety, damage to the environment, and so on and so forth. So what we do is very complex. I can tell you that we are Bambala of engineering. That is the oracle of engineering, where we go in to where we don't know and we bring in the product and the product. When you put in a well, you are going to have what is called reservoir production system. What communicates between reservoir and the oil we get at the surface is called well and wellhead production system. And why what you see on the surface when you go around for an oil facility is surface production system. So for us to recover this oil from the reservoir, because like a ball, when it is compressed, by the time you bust it, you're going to hear, or your tire burst and hear, means the pressure goes down. So the reservoir has its own primary energy that can be used to bring the oil to the surface. That recovery factor is about 35%. Secondary recovery is when we have to look for a way to get the oil out by increasing the pressure to get the oil out of the reservoir. We call it secondary recovery. And tertiary recovery, which is one of the things that can make every cent count, is when we have to go in and put in foreign bodies to get the oil out. The difference between tertiary and secondary is in secondary recovery, we put things in, but it has to have the same property as what is in the reservoir. But tertiary, foreign bodies can come in. That's why we started talking about polymer flooding, surfactant flooding, fire flooding, and so many other flooding techniques that are available to bring the oil out and to reduce the oil that is trapped underground. And one other thing I'm going to explain to you that you're going to understand in the next slide is the gas we flare that you see that we flare are called natural gas. They exist naturally in the reservoir. But the gas we use at home is LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. They are the gas that you see when you do fractional distillation of crude oil. The first gas that you see is liquefied petroleum gas because a lot of people mix that up. And you have the gas on top, you have the oil at the middle, due to density, you have water at the bottom. As of 2003, the federal government of Nigeria expressed interest in non-compressed natural gas utilization and monetization. In consideration that increased internal gas utilization and exportation were the major tool expected to put an end to gas flaring and other forms of gas wastages. In the country, as of today, we all know how many cents or naira pick up just one filled domestic gas cylinder. But as far back as 2003, Idigbe and myself aimed at ensuring regular utilization of CNG locally and also exportation. We specifically suggested adoption of CNG as an automotive fuel for adding economic, technical, institutional values to our economy. We also recommended reduction of import duties on gas-powered vehicles, provision of incentives to refining stations owner, reduction of subsidy on petrol, and diverting such development of CNG pipeline network, funding of research and developmental projects on aspects of CNG, funding grant for automobile conversion to gasified vehicles, grouping of domestic pipelines, monitoring of all CNG programs, and training and retraining of personnel in the Ghana of 2003. For the gas that we suggested, we all know that this was not looked into until last year by federal government. This is like 19 years of gas flaring, 19 years of not allowing our cents to count. Water flooding. Water flooding is a practice that stated as back as 1800 involved injection of water for the purpose of sweep efficiency to displace oil successfully and improve the overall recovery efficiency of the reservoir field. But achieving this might lead to tremendous economical losses without proper analysis. Olafuyi and Olafuyi 2020, Inaugural and Olafuyi 2020, Olafuyi and Olafuyi 2020 1A and B, due to the peculiar importance of chemical and water flooding, including salinity water flooding, low salinity water flooding. I was involved in several local studies as far as the oil and gas industry is concerned. Mathematical modeling was explored in some of the studies as a qualitative tool for gaining insight into the impact of physical displacement in improving production of oil and gas from reservoirs. Various findings of the studies on water flooding and polymer flooding indicated significant cost-saving measures as reported information on optimal conditions for water flooding, which can guide oil recovery without trial and error techniques, such as effect of petroleum number of displacement by Adisa and Olafuyi 2004, effect of viscosity ratio for optimum oil recovery, Mahmoud and Olafuyi 2015. Developing criteria for the Niger Delta, which is based on depth, saturation, gas saturation, residual oil saturation, oil gravity, oil viscosity, presence of aquifer, and other things, etc. We proposed on chemical and water flooding potential in mature reservoir fields of the Niger Delta region of Nigeria. Adisa and Olafuyi from 2004 up to Inaugural and Olafuyi 2020. Alkaline surfactant polymer, ASP flooding. In Nigeria, most of heavy oil reservoirs are shallow depth of less than 8,000 feet, which makes polymer flooding a perfect option for enhanced oil recovery because a good knowledge of polymer and its availability will result in more efficient and economical polymer flooding projects, which will greatly lead to profitably improve oil recovery. Inaugural and Olafuyi 2013. Gum Arabic, an organic adhesive obtained from hanging sap of acacia and sayal trees, is commercially available in other parts of Nigeria and has similar molecular structure and chemical characteristics with xanthan gum, a widely used polymer for drilling fluids and EOR. Over the years, I have worked with several researchers studying the applicability and effectiveness of natural gum arabic as polymer in polymer flooding. So after polymer flooding and alkaline surfactant polymer flooding, even we had to modify the gum arabic. One of the director of Maritime that was where did his PhD. We had to go for a way where this gum arabic is available that we just play with can make every cent to count. But with all the researches we have done, both in the flooding and the properties, getting the right properties for gum arabic. In all the researches that are listed on Atenu and Olafuyi 2014 up to Taiwo and Olafuyi 2019. In all the researches above, we were able to prove that additional oil recovery of about 25% to 35% could be further achieved after the water flooding, this implies that locally available polymer, Gomarabic, will make more sense to count in Nigeria. Surfactant and enhanced oil recovery. Surfactant and surfactant polymer flooding processes in reservoirs are usually implemented after a secondary recovery process to further produce and mobilize some of the bypassed oil to increase oil recovery. Adini and Olafuyi 2015, Taiwo and Olafuyi 2019, Falode et al., Amadi et al., Obushi and Falode 2021. Doing this research, a new surfactant was developed. We name it Ibile surfactant. We name it Inaugural. Ibile surfactant. This is about available, easy to formulate, and readily available chemical agent. Adini and Olafuyi 2015. And was tested while overcoming barriers posed by saline water because the salt affects the formability of surfactants and we need it to form to do the work. Against some widely used surfactants, in the absence of alcohol, Ibile surfactant, together with 28 T4 and lauryl sulfate was screened with sodium chloride brines only and N-octane acting as the oil at unitary values of water aeration. The temperatures between approximately 90 and 120 degrees within the interval of 5 degrees centigrade, keeping the volume and pressure constant. Below the critical missile concentration, the Ibile surfactant had lower surfactant adsorption and ability to form stably at slightly high salinity. Oil solubility increased with the increase in Ibile surfactant concentration at the year and 2015. Thermal and saline stability of the sample surfactant increased in the following order. Ibile surfactant greater than T4, greater than lauryl sulfate, then lauryl sulfate greater than 28, Adini and Olafuyi 2015. Suggested that Ibile surfactant and 2080 mixture to be ideal surfactant for EOR in sandstone reservoir within the high temperature, high and high salinity. The missing gaps following the studies of Ibile surfactant was addressed in the follow-up study of Adini and Olafuyi 2018, in which there was an attempt to develop a new silicate-based surfactant comparatively proven to be cheaper and efficient for EOR. Now, about revenue surfactant, Ibile surfactant development. The question is every cent not counted? Wettability and oil recovery. Wettability is the tendency of one fluid to adhere, to spread on a solid surface. Which means if you look at our skin, you put cream, our skin is oil wet. If you put water on your skin, the water is going to stand out, it's used too well. So that is the function of wettability. And we have fractional wettability, we have water wet, and we have oil wet. When you have 50-50 ratio, or you have a mixed water wet and oil wet, these are well explained by Joy et al. 2012, Lee et al. 2021, Mai et al. 2022, and Usami et al. 2020. Up to 2022, people are still talking about wettability. Because wettability is the main cause why we always have high reservoir saturation in the reservoir. We studied the effect of this thermal treatment on wettability of the rock first. Let's see if it is the rock that is actually causing the problem. But we discovered that the rock responded to heat. When the temperature goes up, the rock decays and deactivated, and it tends to be all water wet. So what we did a further test by measuring using XRD, FTIR, Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, thin section analysis, and B surface area on both fired and unfired ore. Observe wettability index fell within weekly water temperature. Implication being that there will be more residual saturation that will be unfavorable for economic evaluation of recovery hydrocarbons. This is going to affect our sense to count. A flooding based on experiments were conducted on glass pits by making some to the water wet, making some to the oil wet. We mix them in ratios, and from 0, 100, 0 oil wet, 100 water wet, up to 100% oil wet, 0% water wet. Recovery increases based on the increasing percentage of water wet glass pits. This is an indication that ultimate recovery from reservoir is favored in preferentially water wet system. A water wet system improves Nigeria additional strength. Taiwo and Olafuyi 2016. oil-based mud and enhanced oil recovery. In the absence of contaminants, Adisa and Olafuyi, functions of drilling fluids are 1. Transport drilling cuttings out of the hole and allow for separation of cuttings from drilling fluids at the surface. Form a filter cake on well bore walls in order to prevent inflow of drilling fluids into the formations. Prevent inflow of formation fluids into the well bore. Then soil until 2004. In my research with Adisa 2011, 2 oil-based mods suitable for Nigerian formation were formulated and also aged under high temperature conditions for several hours with associated effects studied. The formulated oil-based fluids were able to withstand high temperatures in a deep well better than widely accepted test fluid and thus recommended to be used in drilling of HPHT wells, high pressure, high temperature wells. The study of Adisa and Olafuyi 2011 was on the effect of the drilling cuttings of laboratory prepared oil-based mud. We studied earlier. Increase in contaminant introduced to the test mud resulted in significant increase in plastic viscosity. In particular, plastic viscosity gradually increased up to 5%, then took a sharp increase from 6%. Environmentally friendly oil-based drilling mods and enhanced oil recovery. It is generally known that using a properly managed high-performance aesthetic-based fluid can shorten duration of drilling operations and or aid in maintaining wellbore stability, thereby reducing opportunities for environmental damages, all of which must be considered in designing any drilling operations and activities. Federal and Olafuyi 2012, 2013, and 2015. Oil-based drilling fluid with associated cotton deposition is one of the oil and gas hazards associated with drilling operations. Our previous result findings from Adisa and Olafuyi 2011 A and B involved in the formulation of environmentally friendly oil-based mud using walnut and soya bean plant oil, which could perform the same function as conventional oil-based drilling fluid and equally meet up with health, safety, and environment standards. Obtained findings were published in Federal and Olafuyi 2016. Walnut and soybeans-based mud actually had a presumably less toxicity, better rheological properties, and require less waste disposal costs because it's environmentally friendly, hence making them more economically and technically viable for oil and gas drilling operations. Soybeans oil-based and walnut oil-based thus indicated better chances of being among the technically viable replacement for chemical-based mods, CBMs like diesel. Recommendation of technological development of plant oil-based mod as substitute for conventional diesel-based mod was presented in our study. It is therefore highly imperative for policymakers to propagate the use of environmental friendly oil-based mod for drilling operations. Additional cytocancer. If the locally formulated drilling fluid are applied in drilling and HPHT wells in Nigeria. The work did not end by not going to modeling. Now, modeling of every cent lost during surface production. The method is a deal that will permit field personnel to quickly estimate the amount of dissolved gas that can be associated with an observed pit gain or field condition. As precise thermodynamic modeling of gas liquid phase behavior is essential for successive well control and prediction. Fluid flow control modeling. Adisa and Olafuyi in 2008 presented a method for estimating the swelling of oil-based drilling fluid due to dissolved gas and the methodology involved in the determination of the formation volume factors of the fluids, oil-gas drilling fluid mixture, using entropy equation. Following comparison of our mathematical modeling with empirically obtained data, our finding highlighted pressure profile that will aid reduced condition for proper fluid control. Scale formation modeling. Scales affect our production. If you are boiling water in your kettle, you see the bottom turn wide at times. That's exactly what is called scale. Adisa and Olafuyi in 2008 developed a mathematical model to predict the scale tendency and the amount of scale that will precipitate out of solution at varying temperature in in the presence of hydrate inhibitors, methanol, the typical field flow lines, sand cutting and transport modeling. Sand affect our production as well. The pressure it will take, the sand pressure that will bring oil to the surface, if sand is added to it, it increases the weight. So the production is going to really go down and it's going to damage our equipment as well. A model for 1D transit state mechanistic transport of sand cuttings with multi-phase flow in inclined well was developed using numerical simulator. Adisa and Olafuyi, 2010. The model was validated with experimental data conducted in symptoms inclinable flow, and a good agreement was observed between the experimental pressure gradient and predicted pressure gradient. Finding of that study also contributed to the knowledge in discovering that flow of oil fluid should be at high velocity in order to reduce the average sand concentration during fluid flow. Pressure maintenance was therefore suggested to be put into consideration early in the life of the well. Moving slide to numerical modeling and enhanced oil recovery. Vice Chancellor Man, it happens that almost every year today may not be aware that magic can happen in petroleum engineering. I could have proved that assertion physically, if not for the time factor. Notwithstanding, I will showcase a glimpse of the magic that can be performed in petroleum engineering, which indeed have relevance to how every cent and naira can count in oil and gas industry. Its line is simply a curve, and in mathematics, it's a special function defined this wise by polynomials. Daniels 1978, Jerome et al. 2001, Jones 2001, Jeffrey 2012. While in computer science, the term refers to a piecewise polynomial curve, Jerome et al. 2001. And the Wale and Olafuyi 2010 highlighted in our study that letter E architecture yielded 32 different models with different variation of its 5 external boundaries, which may be sealed or constant pressure, while inverted architecture also yields 32 different models of varying sealing and constant pressure boundaries. The additional abracadabra of the letter E architecture is that vertical inversion turn top of the architecture bottom and bottom turn up, while horizontal inversion merely turn to the top of horizontal well bottom and bottom top. You can see it's abracadabra. In the other words, all the forms normal and inverted of letter E architecture will collectively yield 128 different models with different variations of sealing and constant pressure boundaries. However, any form of letter E architecture has one mandatory infinitely far away external boundary. It is necessary to monitor injected fluid to avoid unwanted injected fluid breakthrough. It is therefore useful to understand the behavior of concerned reservoir system for the purpose of correct characterization and optimization, as well as deriving and studying their pressure and pressure derivative distribution. Adisa and Olafuyi 2010 A and B. Electrical resistivity and enhanced recovery. Information and knowledge of electrical resistivity for reservoir works is crucial for a global reservoir engineering. Needed measurements may be through obtaining of data from review of literature, experimental approaches, modeling, application of numerical method, and other modes of investigation. Olafuyi and Inaugural 2011, Olalekan and Olafuyi 2019, all of which are applicable for analysis of incremental oil and enhanced oil recovery. Other major studies of resistivity which I was involved in include those of core-scale analysis of electrical resistivity in complex core materials. Ants and Olafuyi 2007. Advances in imaging technology has made it possible to routinely image rock microstructure at the core scale, and along with the ability to computationally predict petrophysical and multi-phase flow properties directly on 3D digitized topographic images or on equivalent networks. It's called digital core technology, using the same medical scanner that is reprogrammed to scan a rock of this size as like a fragment and be able to generate a network of how it connects together. That's we have worked on. augment microcity imaging of porous material, also provide the opportunity to extract representative network from those images. This improves the predictive capability of certain effects, like scale network model to predict multi-phase flow transport patterns, how water and oil move within the rocks. This prediction, however, needs to be validated with laboratory experimental data. By literature review or newly conducted laboratory experiment, I can vividly tell you that I conducted a study for the city imaging board on how to validate their network models, Olafuyi 2010 and Olafuyi and Adisa 2011. Validation of predictive microcity-based network models, which is widely used all over the world now. Our presented findings to obtain reliable experimental data, which could be used to validate predictive value of microcity-based network models for capillary pressure and rating parameters, also contribute to the knowledge in that our obtained models were found to predict relative probability of oil and water with varying degree of success. On a very special note, our result findings demonstrated for the first time that reliable village capillary pressure and rating probability measurement can be made on small sandstone and carbonate cores of similar to that used for microcity imaging, Olafuyi and Adisa 2011. My study with others, Mohammed and Olafuyi 2012, presented the laboratory measure in tricky ways for reproducibility, petrophysical properties including porosity, permeability and formation, specificity factor of a specially manufactured synthetic model rock with uniform and well-defined pore patterns. For validation of non-special analysis technique, predictive microcity-based petrophysical properties and oil recovery, we tried in our studies of Petroleum and Olafuyi 2011 and 2007 to present the method of obtaining petrophysical, single-phase and multi-phase properties of reservoir rocks without the use of special analysis techniques. Furthermore, in 2012, Petroleum and Olafuyi indicated that vertical permeability is very important in predicting gas water decoding or performance of horizontal wells. Nanotechnology and oil recovery. Application of nanotechnology in oil and gas industry has been tremendously emerging in the last 2 decades. Having shown that nanotechnology has great potential in solving or managing several problems in petroleum industry, Adisa et al. 2018, Al-Saba et al. 2020, Olafuyi et al. 2022, Wu et al. 2022, and Shah et al. 2022. On nanotechnology and improve recovery of trapped hydrocarbon, we reported in the research study that more hydrocarbon recovered from nanobots during spontaneous inhibition, indicating that there is possibility of improved recovery of trapped hydrocarbon in pools, reservoir and reservoir rocks that has nanobots. Olafuyi and Adisa 2008. The assertion was further supported by our findings in Olafuyi and Adisa 2009. On nanotechnology and fines migration control for enhanced oil recovery, where we investigated based on particles that could be used to improve oil recovery when dispersed during water flooding. The result of the findings shows that aluminum oxide, nickel oxide, and saline-treated steam oxide are effective nanoparticles for IOR. Further tests show that the most optimal nanoparticles for Al2O3, Ni2O3, ZrO2, and SiO2, and when dispersed in brine, can control fines migration, therefore presenting primary and secondary recovery challenges caused by unconsolidated reservoir formation. Fines block our ports, does not allow oil to come to the surface. So we need to be very careful with fines. Olafuyi and Inaugural 2012. In follow-up study, Ogulu and Olafuyi, nanoparticle discovered that nanoparticle dissolved in ethanol were recorded to have trapped most fines better than the one dispersed in distilled water and brine. In touching the whole petroleum design, bitumen and oil recovery is important. Heavy oil and bitumen from gas and are important energy assets and have the potential of significantly contributing to the overall energy supply in Nigeria, as Nigerian tar sand deposits are found in large accumulations, especially in the huge outcrops of the southwestern region of the country. Benin and Olafuyi 2015, Obriki and Olafuyi 2018. Benin and Olafuyi will recharacterize the bitumen deposit because the data available were very low. The outcrop samples were taken for 7 different locations in Niger tar sand reservoir. Grain size analysis showed that the mean grain size ranged from medium to very fine, but mean grain size across the sample areas was medium, while the textural parameters ranged from sorted to well sorted. Average estimated weight of bitumen was found to be 24.1, but ranged from 16.5 to 23.8. Estimated surface porosity of the samples were between 33 and 43%, thus indicating that porosity values expected from the reservoir will range from low to high across various locations sampled. In an attempt to address the issue of soft medium bitumen, Federal and Olafuyi designed a study as cost-effective and efficient softening point tester for classification of bitumen into grades using jatropha oil as free bed instead of water. Our results show that agbawu bitumen, when properly treated, can be used in road paving. It was further confirmed that jatropha oil modified Nigerian bitumen sample when compared with foreign sample improved the qualities and properties when compared with the international standard required for road construction and other uses of bitumen. A higher softening point was also recorded for jatropha-based battery bitumen, which will assist operators to achieve higher output, less need for softening, and save time and cost. Bitumen deposit in Nigeria had been estimated to be about 22 billion tons, which is almost twice the amount of existing reserves of oil in Nigeria. Similarity of rain-water relationship for both Nigeria and Canadian tar sand will make it characteristically easy to use Canadian case study as a model in exploiting Nigerian tar sand for great economic benefit. Benin and Olafuyi 2015, 2016A, B, 2016C, Obriki and Olafuyi 2018. Vice Chancellor, is it not indeed quite sad that in spite of the enormous bitumen that the country is blessed with, no cent is count in the area of bitumen, and Nigeria is not the capital of the world? Petroleum effects on the environment. Produced water treatment and the environment. In Nigeria, an estimated volume of about 1 billion barrels of water are disposed annually from oil and gas production operations. Meanwhile, this effluent often contains significant amount of contaminants like chemicals, oil, and naturally occurring radioactive material, which are ultimately hazardous to the environment. Olalekan and Olafuyi 2015 did an evaluation of produced water management processes of effluent from scheme and tank of selected wells in Niger Delta, Nigeria, and proposed recommendation which reduced oil concentration of the produced water to 50 to 75 mg per liter compared to the method that was being used, having a minimum of 50 mg per liter before disposal. Our study, Benin and Olafuyi, on phytoremediation, phytotechnology, confirmed effective remediation treatment ability of hydrocarbon produced water by aquatic microphytes, water hyacinth, and water lentils, and those recommended as better replacement for conventional cleanup methods of the produced water effluent. Considering the aquatic microphytes are abundant in our coastal water, it was also recommended that the grown-up and the dead aquatic microphytes biomass be removed and used as alternative to fertilizer in order to keep an optimum plant density and to prevent the contamination. Benin and Olafuyi 2015. Artificial intelligence and oil recovery. Gradual decline in world exploration of petroleum, inability to replace petroleum production with newly discovered reserves, depletion of the existing hydrocarbon reserve, declining daily production capacity, called for need to benefit from production optimization and prediction through historical and performance data, artificial intelligence algorithms, which tend to replicate human behavior in identifying trends in data. For artificial intelligence in production optimization and fleet flow analysis, an enhanced biofuels technique was therefore deployed in production optimization and fleet flow analysis for wells drilled and completed in Oregon fields, Niger Delta, Nigeria. Impact of historical production data, reservoir rock and fleet properties, well geometry, architecture, completion profile, and surface data on overall well deliverability was incorporated into this model. Production data obtained from the short and long term for wells completed in that field was processed, analyzed, and input into the enhanced neofuels algorithm, Akonchi, Dala, and Olafuyi, 2019. A total of 368 patterns were obtained in the learning stage. In the learning stage, with 80% making up the training set, and the remaining 20% constituting the validation data set. Daily bombs had very low reading, which flattened out over about 90% patterns. This study thus highlighted the significance of data analytics and artificial intelligence on well prediction and cost reduction, as well as optimization in oil producing wells. The reason I'm a professor of petroleum engineering is because I have to do research in all aspects of engineering, from natural gas to heavy oil, then to environmental problems that are associated with oil and gas production. I put this on the body called voice alert. That's Prince Paul, a professor that likes money. And you can see, if you have to look at his CV, I had the publication maybe about more than something, 140, I don't know. But the truth of the matter is, when I'm vice chancellor of SAPMA, the time I was applying for to be a professor of petroleum engineering, I checked and 20 papers were needed. And I can vividly tell you that then I had over 110 papers to be presented as a professor. How did I achieve this? Every single research I do is money oriented. I look at the money, what are we going to gain? If we try to save a cent, that's now get back to the papers to make sense. So it's not because I was waiting to publish a paper, I was waiting to make money. So based on the story I'm listening to, there will be a time I'm going to join with my vice chancellor to seek for offering time. Foremost, I'm indeed grateful to have a father, El Shaddai, El Chuka, Adonai, Alpha and Omega. Ancient of days, Elohim, El, the Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth, innumerable blessings, great is thy faithfulness. Permit me to sing this one. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, your mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand provided. Great is thy faithfulness unto me. I'm going to tell you why it is. Walking with me again is a divine joy. And I'm going to tell you when I get to the gratitude of how I got to walk in West Benin. How I left oil company job for 43,000 naira a month. All wife. Stand up for country recognition. Behind every successful man, there's a woman. We actually came to pick my employment letter from the University of Benin. And here we are to pick God, but you can see that greatness is faithfulness. And my children, they are not their own avoidably absent today. Oluwadamdala Adechoro, Oluwatibale Ademoni, Oluwafemi Adebisi, Oluwashiyadeyemi Olafuyi. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my late parent. If I had not been this time, I would have not been here today or doing my inaugural lecture. Because it was stated for English, she died in June. So she couldn't make June last year, she couldn't make it to this place. So I'm indeed very grateful for life investment. Special thanks to the Olafuyis, Griffins, Odulugas, families, Nebus, Adioshos, Additionals, or Ehens, Onawus, Adibolis, Alafias, Mohammed, Okromades, Kilani, Akonji, Fagbari, Taiwo, Akobi families for their support always. I would like to thank Petroleum Technology Development Fund, members of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, SPE in Nigeria, members of the Petroleum Engineering, Greatest Petroleum Engineering Field, and also all my collaborators and collaborating institutions. My gratitude also goes to whoever put me and now for playing the role. As I said, sorry, I'm going to take a moment to tell you that. The reason I want this job in divine job is out of the options I have to work. This job is the only job the VC was begging me to come and take a job. As I ever haven't taught anybody in this school. The VC called me to come and take a job. I came, and when I got to the office, the VC was busy, they were having a secret meeting. But correct meeting is not divine. So I left, like, why is VC looking for me? So I went, as I entered the college, a degree, I was going to Lagos. By the time I got to Winnipeg Gate, the PRO called me, Charles Omonagi. Can I get in England? Yes. He said, oh, the visit was not really happy, he was very sorry, was apologizing to me for being patient to wait. So when will I come again? I said, okay, what next week? He said, okay, I have the court visit. The visit said, what was question now? He said they were going to be in a council meeting and that they should call him if they are in a council meeting. So when I came, the week after, the visit just called me. It was in a council meeting and they called me, quickly came to his office. Oh, Engineer Olafuyi, I'm very sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. But as I ever happened before. I said, sir, what can I do for you? He said, no, I would like you to work for me. I said, is he looking for a PA? I don't understand. Because I was doing the advertisement outside. I just wrote an application to the University of Benin. I sent it to UI, I sent it to Bauchi, I sent it to all petroleum engineering offering institutions. Professor now called me and I came in. He said, will I work for me? I said, yes, sir, yes, sir. And the money is small, but you know, the economy is good. You come in as a lecturer. Who was begging me to come and take a jobless man? I said, it's okay. When will I to resume, sir? I said, as soon as possible. God register for me. Bam, as he happened for you, God register. No interview. There's something there. God, give me the employment letter. And I came with my wife out of the job. I was supposed to work with Cornwell or an SMB bank. Those ones were paying me 500,000 a month. Back when there was 100,000 a month. I took University of Benin job for 43,000 a month. Why? That was the only divine orchestrated job that somebody was begging me, not the one I have to use man. So those of you that will see me when I do this work, I do it and I've been very happy with it. I love the job I do. I will come back to the lecturer. So my gratitude goes to Professor Amina now. The Zoe is not there. So the HOD had to introduce me to the VC after the employment. They introduced me to the VC. I said, why not? I said, yes, and I help you. The VC also made me again. He did not even recognize the man who was making. Praise the Lord. Some of you are hearing this testimony for the first time. I just said it for Inaugural, so that you don't go and ask what the juju I'm using. So, I want to say a very big thank you to Professor Amina Nao for playing his divine role in my employment at the University of Benin. I cannot but acknowledge Professor Lina Ibetian Salami for her support towards this inaugural lecture. I can tell you, man, me giving this inaugural lecture during your tenure, you are blessing all forms of life in Jesus' name. And as teacher of children, I think I need to share because we may get back to family for the support in getting this innovation together. Lastly, I'd like to appreciate all members of my technical family, SPE, and JAM the industry for coming. The umpire support to us all, and shield. Sorry, my time is up. Vice Chancellor, if Nigeria were to be sold without any of us in it, how much would the purchase cost in cents or in naira? Yeah. And it's the last one now. The Vice Chancellor chose naira again. It means we need to start considering local things because naira is ours, not cents. With a total of 159 fields in 1481 wells in operations, and coastal Nigeria Delta Basin having 78 oil fields, along with the small productive fields that accounted for 62.1% of Nigeria oil production capacity, as well as 16 largest fields producing 37.9% of Nigerian petroleum, while the Bengal and Singapore 2022. Nigeria is currently leading oil exporting country in Africa and 8th in the world. The most well-known importance of crude oil in Nigeria are so diverse and variable that they should additionally contribute significantly to its economy. The most spectacular peculiarity of Nigeria, however, is that it is the only oil-producing country in the world currently without functional refinery, but export is crude oil, and then import only the first barrel into the country. So what happens with the other product that comes from functional taxation of crude oil? If only every cent and naira count in this country has been accounted for, Nigeria will have been a giant among giants of the world. Imagine how much cents will have counted if CNG has properly been implemented as the regular fuel and domestic gases today. Imagine how much cents that would have been counted if local surfactants and polymers are used in our country. In my own little space, I have in this country, particularly during the course of my career in academia, along with collaborators at the research level, as well as knowledge sharing hubs, community service platforms, both locally and internationally. All these have been able to showcase during the course of doing this knowledge. Several means of making every cent and naira count, from the gains and fines of the head, even up to the product obtained from crude oil, can make Nigeria a nation that will not need to be one of the world top borrowers, if only in addition to curbing massive corruptions in the country. The aforementioned maximally beneficial contributions, experimental and lab institute research findings, and recommendations which are made and highlighted in the lecture can be judiciously considered and implemented. At this point, Vice Chancellor, if Nigeria were to be sold without any of the oil, how much would it cost? Cent for naira.
She will not be caught saying the wrong thing, not this Vice Chancellor. Please put your hands together again. And please sit. Unmistakably, we have just been fed with a rich academia industry experience. At this juncture, I now respectfully invite Madam Vice Chancellor, the organete of Igara, to recap the lecture. Madam Vice Chancellor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start with a light one. Now, when I asked my DVCs that I will not be chanced, that they should come and chair this, All three of them refused. And then I asked the librarian, who's supposed to be the custodian of all the books, and he took it. You know how University is going to recap petroleum engineering. So please sit tight and listen. But I saw all the gurus in engineering watching with keen interest, while the rest of us were only hearing the zoom of engineering. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the lecturer has told us that the petroleum industry is uncommon, but it has generated and continues to generate not less than $5 trillion globally, even in the year 2022. It is financially huge industry. It's a financially huge industry. Every cent counts. Nigeria is among the 15 countries that account for the 75% of the world's petroleum production. Nigeria is also the leading oil exporting country in Africa and 8th in the world. Having taken time to illustrate the challenges in the Nigeria petroleum industry, Professor Olafuyi has dedicated his research efforts towards addressing those problems. Some of his interventional researches include helping to classify the grains and finds of oil reservoirs, finding cost-effective but optimally enhanced oil recovery measures, and using locally developed materials in addressing production processes. It is interesting that he has researched on using artificial intelligence, AI, in predicting the performance of oil wells and how plants and herbs can be used to address these challenges. These and several others of his research efforts stand him out as a distinguished professor of petroleum engineering. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he has stated a rhetorical question. If Nigeria were to be sold without the crude oil content, how much would it cost in cents or naira? Permit me to answer that Nigeria is of inestimable value. We are indeed blessed in many ways other than oil. The shrinking contribution of oil to the national GDP suggests so. Once again, let me applaud Professor Olafuyi for his brilliance and for being a great research ambassador of this great university, both nationally and internationally. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Vice Chancellor, who will now proceed to decorate the lecturer. Immediate family, please join. Madam, please join as he's decorated. We welcome all, especially the wife of the lecturer, Barrister Mrs. Olafuyi. We welcome you, ma'am. We welcome his sister, Ola Ajayi. We also welcome the immediate past Vice Chancellor of the University of Benin, who is also an engineer, Professor Faraday Olumese. Welcome, sir. We welcome Professor Emeritus Raymond Elayo. Welcome, sir. We welcome Professor Emeritus T.O.K. and Professor Mrs. Audu. You're most welcome. We welcome Professor S.O. Isemunwa, Professor of Petroleum Engineering, University of Ibadan. We welcome Professor Kes Obahiadon, also an engineer. We welcome Professor Kiruka Waba. We welcome Professor Dennis Ibenomania. We welcome Professor Mrs. C.O. Ukebe. We welcome Professor Jennifer Ebebe. We also welcome Mr. Godwill Samuel. Welcome also Salahuddin Tahir, Head asset and investment management, NNPC guy, and past investment services, you are most welcome. We also welcome very specially Godwin Uzo, Manager OML 3, Asset NEPL, welcome. We welcome Emmanuel Aluyo, Vice Chancellor, Edo State University, Uzaire. We welcome you, Prof. We welcome Yusufu, Executive Director, P&A and NEPL, NNPC. Welcome. We also welcome Dr. Ishmael Mohammed, Executive Director, CTS, NEPL, NNPC. Welcome also Professor Benga Falode. Welcome. We also welcome Dikad Samuel, Manager OML 26, NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. We welcome you, sir. We welcome Ekwe Ukan, OM Geology, NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. We welcome one and all. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we shall now rise for the Uniband Anthem, followed by the second stanza of the national anthem to bring this grand ceremony to a close. Uniband Anthem. So rice and stew very plenty.